So imagine your whole life you were told that you need to go to college to have a degree and have a successful and happy life. And I'm sure many of you guys can relate, especially if you're coming from an immigrant Asian household. And the principal would be just becoming a doctor. And that was almost my reality. I was this close to walking down that path and becoming that, and having this predetermined path laid out right in front of me. But I took a leap of faith. I decided to go against everything that I was taught and actually start my own business. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. Fast forward a few years later, and I've built multiple 6 and 7-figure companies, owned multiple properties, and most importantly, I live my life on my own terms. And the best part is I didn't have to sacrifice 30 years of my life to get to the point of retirement and actually enjoy my life. And I'm making this video today for you guys to understand my story, my full journey, and how I went from zero to millions of dollars per year. And hopefully I can inspire you guys to start your own journey and have a life that you always wanted. So a little bit about my early life. I was born in LA, raised in Long Beach, California for most of my childhood, and I'm actually a first generation American. So my parents were originally from Cambodia, and they got to America in their mid-20s with basically hardly any English and no money to their name. So imagine how difficult that would be. Imagine being placed in a foreign country without being able to speak their language and having no money to your name. That would be incredibly hard, especially back then. But my parents figured it out, and they ended up working at donut shops for a few years until they could actually open up their own. And eventually we actually moved out of Long Beach because it ended up being too dangerous, and we ended up leaving and going into the Inland Empire. And they ended up selling their donut shop as well, and they got into a small Mexican meat market in Long Beach. And soon after, unfortunately, my parents split and my father walked out on our family and basically left my mom with just me and my brother. Now, these years were the most difficult years of my life. I saw my own single mother work 12-hour days, daily commuting from Inland Empire to Long Beach just so we could live in a decent area and live a decent life. And I hardly saw my own mother for literally 4 to 5 years. And I was trying to do all this while I was a high schooler and trying to figure out my own life while being the man of the house, taking care of myself and taking care of my brother. And so seeing all of my mom work in front of me just all of these years really instilled how incredibly important it was to work hard to be able to make money, and making money is what's going to give you a good life. And she actually wanted me to finish school and get a good job because her business ownership was just a bad experience. She thought that if I had a job and got a degree, it would be a less stressful life and it'd be a lot happier. And that's the traditional path. And this actually reminds me of another time I realized that I didn't want to follow this traditional path and use that to make good money, because there had to be a better way. There had to be a way where I could be my own boss. So getting into my initial ventures, before anything, I was in school and I was going into actually a private college called FIDM. I got in pretty early and I was really into men's fashion at that time, right? And I thought I could make a career out of it, but that was super short-lived. I was only there for a couple weeks and I dropped out of that, switched schools, and I got into kinesiology and business because I was heavy into the fitness space. And I was heavily influenced by a YouTuber named Christian Guzman, and he had literally my dream life. He was a successful online fitness coach, and he was driving a BMW and he had his own place and everything, and I was like, that's the life I want to live. And that's what got me really into fitness. So I worked for gyms like Fitness 19, Crunch, and eventually I went private and did in-person training and also online coaching. I specialized in weight loss, strength, and powerlifting competitors as well, because I was a powerlifter myself. And I was doing decent as a 20-year-old, making $2K a month just starting out. But one day I was sitting in the middle of my accounting class. So I was still doing personal training and I was also doing college at the same time. And I was sitting in the accounting class and I was just like, this cannot be it. This cannot be my life. This cannot be useful in any way. So I decided to basically say, I'm leaving. I'm dropping out. But I gave myself one condition. I told myself this. I said, I'm going to drop out now, but I have to be able to make at least $4,000 or $5,000 by myself. This is the money that I have to make by myself without any boss or anything like that. I have to be able to figure this out myself. And if I can do this and make $4,000 to $5,000 by myself within the next 6 months, then I will never go back to college. But if I fail, if I cannot do this, I can't figure it out, I will go back to school. That was the deal I made with myself. And so I did that. I did exactly that. I dropped out, and basically within 3 months, I made over $5,000 myself doing personal training. And that's what opened my eyes into the world of entrepreneurship. This is what really got me into it, because I realized it doesn't matter what I do. It matters my skill set, what I'm capable of. And so that's what I lean towards more. It's like, it's all about what I'm capable of. If I know that I can make money myself, I know I don't need to depend on somebody else or another job or a boss to do this for me. So because of that realization, that's what led me to go really hard into the personal training space and that venture. But as I did this for a few years, I started to realize this was a really bad situation. Because imagine you're me in this situation, spending all day training clients, trying to find new clients, and then training yourself for hours. So you're at the gym for hours on end, and you're only making $4,000 to $6,000 a month while spending all of this time. And it's like, how could I ever see myself doing this for the next 20, 30 years? Could I see myself doing it? And the answer was no, I really couldn't. And that's what led me into finding other ways of making money. And this is where I started searching for answers, and I wanted to see if there's a much more passive way of making money where I did not need to trade my time for money. And so I used the resources around me. I went out and I went on Google and I Googled out how to make money online or how to make passive income. And I came across a bunch of YouTube videos talking about drop shipping, real estate, and also something called Amazon FBA. Now imagine that you're discovering this whole new world of online business for the first time. Amazon FBA was the one that resonated with me the most because I didn't have the capital to start anything like real estate, right? And I also shop on Amazon all the time. So it's like, why wouldn't I want to be on the other side of that? That's what's different than doing drop shipping. So within the first couple of weeks, I got into it, did a lot of research, watched a ton of YouTube videos, and I bought a course. This is all happening within a month. Finished the course basically within a couple weeks, and then I ordered my first product and ordered samples. And I placed my first deposit for 300 units, and that batch cost me about $2,500. And I also spent a couple $1,000s on other miscellaneous things. But to my surprise, once I launched this product that I found on Amazon, that I private labeled myself, it literally crushed it. I did over $9,000 in 2 weeks with over a 40% profit margin. And you gotta keep in mind, this is me when I'm in my early 20s, like 21, 22. So seeing this kind of money was insane to me. I'm like, holy shit, I just proved to myself that I could do this. So I made that much money plus my personal training job. So I was like, okay, like I've got something going on here. I'm making some decent money over here. But the journey wasn't that simple and easy. Unfortunately, that I came across a lot more problems. That product itself ended up dying out because it just ended up getting bad reviews. I didn't really do an inspection on the product for it to check if it actually worked. It didn't work at all. It was a animal repeller that didn't repel animals. And I also got too ambitious. I ordered way too much inventory thinking that it's always going to sell, but it didn't. Because the ratings got hit, I ended up losing all my sales, and basically I was stuck with a few $1,000s in inventory that took a while to sell, and ultimately I ended up losing $10,000. And I failed 2 more products after that. I failed a felt letter board. I failed a what's it called? What's the other one? Kitchen utensils as well. So I also failed those products trying it and didn't have good differentiators, and they were just big learning lessons for myself. But what I did was I didn't give up. I realized and I learned that, look, I already proved it to myself once, and I was doing decent. We got a couple of hiccups, but it was working, right? And I also saw that other people were doing it, and it was working for other people as well. So it's kind of like I got into this process and mindset where it's like, okay, clearly there's products on here that are selling well. I could see the numbers. I'm seeing it. People are doing well. I see other people on YouTube doing well. That means they're doing something right, and I've done something wrong. And I need to somehow bridge that gap. I just need to fix all of the mistakes I've made, and then eventually, as long as I don't give up, I have to get it right eventually. Like, I know I'm not an idiot. I know I can learn. So it's like, if I just keep going, even if I have to fail 3-4 more times, I just have to get it right one time for this all to work out for me, right? So that's what I did. I just kept going, kept trying. That's why I ended up, failing 3. And it wasn't until the 4th one that really changed the game for me. This 4th product is really what started the momentum of my account, right? And so the product, I sold it in March. I first launched it, restarted everything over again. I spent about $3,000 on it again. And I launched it, ended up doing $8,000 in its first month, its first 4 weeks. Not as good as the first one, but still decent enough where I was like, okay, I'm on the right track again. And it was profitable as well. So with the profits of this 4th product that started doing well, this is where I doubled down even further. And I took all that money and reinvested it again. Now, keep in mind, any sane person would have stopped by now or just taken the profits and stopped. But obviously I had some level of delusion. So I doubled down and bought a variation of the product. And those 2 products is what helped scale this account from $8,000 a month to $100,000 within 10 months. $100,000 a month, about a 40% net profit on this account, right? So I more than doubled my income from my personal training job, and that gave me the confidence to finally quit that 9-to-5 and just go in all of myself, right? And I doubled down, launched more products, teamed up with some awesome business partners, and launched more accounts, grow more accounts to 6, 7, and 8 figures. Eventually take some of that extra cash and invest it into some real estate and also buy my first house. And for the last 3 years, we've been able to launch launch more products, open up our coaching business called the FBA Boss Academy, launch a shipping company, launch a photo studio, and software programs designed to help Amazon sellers like us. And we've been able to generate millions of dollars between those multiple businesses, and also, most importantly, build the life that I want to live. And now I live my life the way I want it. I wake up when I want, I start my day however I want, I drive the cars that I want, I buy whatever I want, and I just do everything on my terms. I have nobody that I need to go up to and ask for permission or anything like that. I live on my terms. And I tell you this story not to brag, but to let you know that I was once in your shoes. I used to be just like you, but now I'm free. And I run my own businesses that aren't always easy, but I basically get to do what I want, and I learn to love what I do. Right? Because maybe you're working a 9 to 5, maybe because you hate your boss because he's a dick, or maybe you're watching from your college dorm room and you're hating your classes, or maybe you just want a cool life and you want to buy a nice car. But the thing is, you have to be able to take that first step and change for a better life. No one's going to push you, no one's going to do it for you. You are the sole person responsible for making this happen. I did that. That's what I did. And so if you're watching this and thought that the steps I took are the steps you need to take, then I can definitely help. So what I want you to do is click the first link in my description box. And on that page, you'll learn how to start your first online side hustle within the first few days using the bridging to buyers method. And it's the same thing I did to get to the point where I'm telling you this story, and that could be the start of something for you too. So click that first link in the description and watch that video, and it'll take you to the page to learn more. And I'll see you guys there. And of course, thank you so much for listening and watching this story, and I hope you guys were inspired by it. And of course, as always, please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And I appreciate my OGs out there. Peace.